We need a moment of silence for Jameis Winston. Week 8, Tampa Bay Buccaneers at the Cincinnati Bengals, and once again, typical fashion, we lose. As you can see, I'm wearing my Levante David jersey right here. Couldn't rock the Jameis. I try to keep the jersey matching, you know, what the team is wearing if it's away or home, but Jameis Winston, it seems his days in Tampa are now numbered, and he may not take another snap ever again in a Tampa Bay uniform, barring an injury to Ryan Fitzpatrick. Please excuse my voice. I am coming down with a little bit of a cold. My nose is stuffy, my eyes watery a little bit, so just bear with me. But before we get started, if you are new here, make sure you click the subscribe button down below, like and comment. As always, it is a Bucs life, and the way that we lost is in typical Buccaneer fashion, as if the team does not care about its fans whatsoever. I'm going to get right into the winners and losers really quickly because I have stuff to say about the state of the Buccaneers afterwards. So if we're going into the winners, first winners are our receiving core. Deshaun Jackson caught his 24th touchdown pass of 60 yards or more, surpassing Jerry Rice for the #1 overall in NFL history, so congratulations to him. Mike Evans had 6 catches for 179 yards, balled out. Great work by our receiving core. It had to happen considering we were getting killed on the field. Second winner would have to be Dirk Cutter for deciding to bench Jameis, even though he did it a little too late and putting in Ryan Fitzpatrick. At that point, he had to know that Fitzpatrick was giving us the best chance to win the game. The third winner is Jason Pierre-Paul. Has done nothing but balled out since he's been here. He had 2 sacks on the day with literally no D-line help whatsoever, and 8 on the season. He's on pace to break 16 sacks. I think he's on pace now to like 17 or 18. But the way he has been playing, he's been balling out. We have nobody on the D-line to help him. Gerald McCoy is out. Vita Vea has kind of been all right. He hasn't really done anything to show us that he's worthy of a first-round pick. But Jason Pierre-Paul has seemed to be balling out. We only had 2 quarterback hits all game, and they were both from him. So great addition to the team. Imagine what he would do with a competent defensive line around him. He would ball out. He'd be leading the league right now, but it is what it is. Now getting into the losers. The first loser absolutely is Jameis Winston. I have been a long time Jameis Winston fan and defender. Always thought about giving him a longer leash and, you know, blaming the defense for a lot of the losses. But today he threw about a 50% completion rate, 1 touchdown, 4 interceptions. All interceptions were on him. You can't even argue that none of them weren't. Absolutely unacceptable, and I think his days are numbered, but I will get into that in a little bit once I finish this loser list. The second loser of the game is, again, Catanzaro. How many times does he have to be on this list? Another missed extra point, which made us have to get a 2-point conversion at the end. Luckily, we converted it because we usually never convert 2-point conversions. At this point, Aguayo was better. He wasn't missing extra points like that. I think he missed 1 or 2, but Catanzaro every game is going to miss 1, and it's hurting our team. We need to get rid of him. I know we tried out Cairo Santos this week. We just need to bring him in. It's a wrap for Catanzaro. He can't be our field goal kicker moving forward. The third loser of the game is our coaching staff. 11 penalties on this team. The majority of them, it seemed, coming like off plays, like the D-line being offsides, encroachment. How many times can that happen in one game? You'd think after 1 or 2, the players would be like, all right, well, let me rein it back a bit. All around a bad execution by the team. Honestly, not just the penalties, just the team execution overall. First half, the defense was getting lit up. Second half, they tightened up a bit. And then in that final drive, ridiculous, giving up all those yards in under a minute to the Bengals. But what can you expect? It is a Buccaneer life, and this is what being a Bucs fan entails. So now that I got the losers and winners out of the way, I need to talk about this Jameis Winston situation. Jameis Winston has played, I think, almost 50 games in his entire career and has turned the ball over literally about 70 times. I think he's tied with Blake Bortles, or maybe surpassed him today, for the most turnovers since he came in the league in 2015. Absolutely unacceptable. I think his time in Tampa is over. There's a lot of things that kind of lead to that. #1, Deshaun Jackson requesting a trade. He seemed a lot happier under Fitz. I believe that Deshaun Jackson is somewhat of a diva. When he doesn't get the ball, he doesn't seem to react really well, and it seems like when Jameis is playing, he just doesn't have the same swagger and energy. That was prior to this game, but watching this game, when Ryan Fitzpatrick came in, the team seemed to play with a little more fire and intensity. I think Jameis Winston has officially lost the locker room and officially lost the team. Jameis has been off since he's come back from suspension. He hasn't been playing with the same fire and intensity. Usually you can see it in his eyes that he wants it, and now it seems like, I don't know if it's coaching telling him to rein it back, or he realized he's been messing up and is reining it back, but whatever it is, the team doesn't trust him. He doesn't have that fire and energy. It reminds me of the Josh Freeman era when he just stopped having fun on the field and he just looks defeated. Either Jameis just realized, you know what, the team doesn't like me anymore, I've let the team down so much, or the losing culture of being a Tampa Bay Buccaneer player has finally got to him. Whatever it is, Jameis does not look the same. The team does not respond the same to him. Mike Evans doesn't look the same. Deshaun Jackson doesn't look the same, but for some reason when Fitzpatrick comes in, they got a little more pep in their step, which is great for us moving forward if we play Fitzpatrick, which I think we should. But the issue is if we play Fitzpatrick and win some games, it hurts us in the long run. Fitzpatrick is not a long-term solution to this team. He is not a long-term answer at quarterback. He is like 34, 35, somewhere around that range. He is not going to be a quarterback beyond a couple of years. Again, it is Fitzpatrick. He is going to level down and get back to earth, so we can't really rely on that. Now, if coaching staff decides that Jameis is not the long-term answer, they need to look for an effective replacement. However, if we are winning games, we're not going to get a top 5 draft pick, top 3 draft pick. We're not going to be able to be in position to get a quarterback unless we trade the entire house for draft picks and then move up or something of that sort. So it's like a lose-lose situation at this point. I get it. Coaching staff wants to win to save their jobs, but at this point, if Jameis is not the answer, I think the coaching staff is gone. I think we're rebuilding. The reason Dirk Cutter got this job and the reason they have been on a long leash is because of Jameis. They've always been able to show that Jameis has made improvements. Last year, his numbers gotten a little better. They were showing the owners that, you know what, even though we're not winning, we're on the right track with Jameis. Just give us some time. Now that Jameis has been benched, and if he remains benched for the rest of the season, ownership will decide that, you know what, this coaching staff was here for a reason, and now they've given up on this quarterback, so it's time to move on. I can't say whether or not Jameis is cut after this season. I think it depends if our coaching staff is here. I think if our coaching staff is gone, they're going to ask the new coaching staff, do you want to work with Jameis Winston? In that case, I feel like maybe Jameis will be able to stay depending on who it is. I think maybe a Bruce Arians, if he decides to come out of retirement, or someone in that kind of QB guru-ish type of role can come in and save Jameis, but I really don't see it happening. I think Jason Light may remain as a general manager if the coaching staff goes, because he has brought in weapons, everything they needed. He brought in defensive weapons, he brought in defensive line, he drafted corners, and they're just not getting it done. So I think he is on a longer leash. I wouldn't be surprised if he is fired as well, but I think he does remain. If he does remain, I think it's harder for them to release Jameis because that was like his prized possession, his prized draft pick. So it's really a tough situation. As a Bucs fan, it's absolutely exhausting. It seems like for the last decade since we got rid of Gruden, we've always been in rebuilding mode. We've had 2 winning seasons since then, and every time we have a winning season, we're like, you know what, we're going to advance, get better, and we only get worse. At some point, luck needs to go in our favor. Like, can we hire a no-name coach like Sean McVay? Like the Rams, they picked a coach that nobody really was expecting. He hired literally the best available assistants for these positions, and it ended up paying out. He didn't hire friends. He didn't look out for his friends or people that he's worked with. He literally hired who is the best available at these positions and got them. And that is something that our team never does. We need to be bold. We need to hire somebody that is different. I know people will argue Raheem Morris was that, but Raheem Morris was an insider. He was on the team. They just promoted him. We need someone who has a track record of being a good play caller, either on the offensive or defensive side, and sign him if we want to make changes. As fans, this is absolutely ridiculous. We have been losing 8 of the last 10 seasons. We have had the same excuses every single time. Our defense has not stepped up every single time. When our defense starts playing well, the offense has started to suck. There's literally no consistency, and something has to change for the Buccaneers, or else the fans are going to jump ship. I am a diehard, passionate Bucs fan. I have been a Bucs fan for my whole entire life, pretty much, and it is the same old, same old. But the Tampa Bay Buccaneers need to step up. There needs to be accountability. The current Glazer sibling ownership is not doing their part to ensure that the Buccaneers are winning games. They are not holding the team accountable. They are not doing their part in making sure the team will win. The team needs to do better. We need to figure out a way to win. We need to figure out a way to put a good team on the field and execute. We can't keep coming up with excuses of injuries, communication, bad season, bad play calls. Every season there's something. Other teams are not coming up with these excuses. Other teams are playing with worse rosters and winning more games. There is something fundamentally wrong with this Buccaneer roster, with this Buccaneer structure, from the top of ownership to front office to coaching all the way down to the players. Something is wrong. Something needs to change. People are not being held accountable. We have a coach who is afraid to go for a touchdown at the end of the first half and will rather rely on a kicker that has shown you he cannot make kicks. I get it. Jameis threw 2 picks at that point, but Jameis was moving down, got us in the red zone. Our coach does not play to win. He plays the numbers. Statistically, kicking a field goal may be better because it will get you 3 points. But knowing that your defense could not stop the Bengals' run game the entire game, why go for it? Why not try to get as many points as possible? You're going to lose the game anyways. Go out swinging. The head coach plays very conservative. He calls the game very conservative. Something is wrong. The players, again, do not have energy or swagger. Their body language is horrible when Jameis is in. Jameis needs to be out. I hate it. I'm a big Jameis supporter, a big Jameis lover. I've been a fan since FSU. One thing that makes me feel better about all of this is the whole Winston versus Mariota discussion. At the time, everyone was saying Mariota was the better option because he didn't turn the ball over. Jameis was the better option because he looked like a better NFL-ready quarterback. And I think it's safe to say after 4 years, neither of them was the right one. That makes me feel better because had Mariota worked out and been like a great quarterback, we would have been regretting like, oh, the team can't make a draft pick. But in that situation with the #1 overall pick, you have to pick a quarterback or trade back. We picked a quarterback, we were wrong. If we picked the other quarterback, we still would have been wrong. Both look horrible. And yeah, that's just what it is. Fitzpatrick is playing better than both Marcus and Jameis, and there's no solution for that. So in conclusion, the Bucs after this season have to really sit back and analyze how everything is run. If the Glazer siblings ownership cannot figure out what to do, they need to hire someone to look over the team, kind of like a general manager to the general manager, I guess, and stand back, not make decisions, but look at what's going on and assess the state of the Buccaneers, because the ownership does not know what they're doing. They're hiring pretty decent general managers. I like Jason Light. I also like Mark Dominic. I thought they were pretty solid. I don't think they were the best, but I think they've done enough to put talent on the team. But the head coaching selections have been absolutely horrible. As fans, we need to demand a change. We need to demand a better product on the field because it is unacceptable. We can't keep settling for this type of on the field. It's gotta change. Something has to change and the team has to be better. I could keep going, but let me cut it down. This video is becoming too long. So once again, if you are new here, make sure you click the subscribe button down below. Thumbs up this video, leave comments. Let's get a conversation going. What needs to change with this team? What needs to turn this team into perennial winners? And what do we have to do to get rid of this losing culture that is literally on the field every week for the last 10 years. Thank you very much for tuning in, and I am out.
Our offense tough, our defense rough. Go Bucs, go Bucs. Ain't no other team stopping us. Go Bucs, go Bucs.